What do you do when a woman says she wants to go from dating you to being in a more casual relationship? Hi there, men's dating coach Harry Wilmington here, founder of IntrovertDatingSuccess.com. And on today's show, we're going to be answering a question from a guy on Reddit who has been dating a girl for 2 months that he met on Tinder. And after 2 months, she's now coming to him saying she wants it to be more casual. What does that mean? And what should he do if he wants to hold on to this girl? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon to be notified of when I put up daily new videos. Also, be sure to go to the website to download my free ebook, Texting Like a Boss, as well as hitting on the tip jar tab to show your support, the links of which can be found at the website and in the description below. Let's get into it. So let's go ahead and get into this guy's message. And so the message is titled, On the Fence on How to Proceed with the Relationship. He says, 25-year-old male here. After seeing this girl I met on Tinder for the past 2 months, she just let me know last night that she's only interested in a casual relationship because she just got out of a serious long-term relationship this past July. I was pretty disappointed to hear this considering how much I like her and wanting to have a more meaningful relationship with her. So now I'm faced with the decision of continuing to see her in a casual manner, whatever that even really means, or just ending things. I know I should have brought this question up earlier on in the relationship, but I just thought it was implied that we were a thing after I introduced her to my dad and close friends. I feel like a complete idiot and I'm really depressed. Any advice would be appreciated. All right, so let's go back to the first part of his question where he's saying that they met on Tinder and 2 months in, she's now saying she wants a casual relationship. So let me tell you something, guys. Anytime you're dating a woman and you've been dating her for a while and she starts using language that indicates she wants to pull back, that's usually not a very good sign. And what that actually usually means is that unbeknownst to you, you were probably doing way too much during this time frame and doing things that made her feel as though A, you already caught feelings for her, and B, you're already thinking that you guys are in a relationship. And as I've told you on the show time and time again, your pacing for what you're feeling and what kind of relationship you're ready to be in terms of the levels of it is of no concern. What matters is ultimately what she feels. And this is why I tell you guys over and over again that it's best for you to apply patience and to go at her pacing and wait for her to come to you saying things like, well, what are we, our relationship, et cetera, et cetera. But what a lot of you people guys are doing out there is you are doing things, like I said, unbeknownst to you, that are making things be too serious when she's not there yet. And these are things like over texting, planning a whole lot of dates in one time. If this guy's been seeing her 2 months, I could probably guess that based on how much he likes her, he was probably trying to see her every day or trying to talk to her every day. And these are things that if you were in a relationship, it would be better. Like I still advise guys to kind of still be at a patient pace, even in relationships, but it would be more acceptable. But early on when she's just dating you, if you're doing too much early on, you end up with a situation like this where a woman will come to you and say, this is getting way too serious. I need to pull back. I want this to be more casual. But when they use this kind of language, that means that their level of feeling for you is actually on the outs. And I wrote a response to this guy and he wrote me back saying that the girl texted him the other day saying, that she doesn't want to be with him because she doesn't think that he can handle being in a casual relationship, and she doesn't want him to be mad or upset if she's trying to date other people. But that's a telling sign because that means that she was able to read off of him that his feelings were very, very intense. And as I said, your feelings do not matter. Ultimately, what matters is how her feelings are building. Most of the time, guys, after like the second or third date, we're already ready to wife her up and call it a night. And that's where we end up making more mistakes because if in our head, if we're already there, we're projecting that she must already be there also, and it takes us off our game. It makes us start doing things that indicate that there's so much feelings that we have for them, and that intensity can chase them off. Now, another big mistake that a lot of guys make is what this guy made that I'm going to get to, where he talks about how he says, I know I should have brought this question up earlier on in the relationship. And what he's referring to is he's thinking that he should have asked her early on. So like, what are your intentions? What are you trying to get out of this? And I think men think about getting into relationships as if women think about it the same way we do. So we think we need to like be able to get from the jump set, hey, so we've had 2 dates. So like, are you seeing this going somewhere? Like, is this going to be a relationship? Are you just trying to use me for a fling? Are you trying to get a good hookup? Are you just using me to get attention or take you out on dinners? And most women don't really think about it that way because they live in moment to moment, and those moments are based on how they're emotionally feeling. So when you ask a girl after a second date, so are you thinking this could be like long term? If her emotions are not there yet, then the answer you're going to get is either I don't know, I'm not sure, or so far not really, because they need time to build to that moment. Now, at the point that their emotions get there, then if you were to ask that question, which by the way, I don't recommend you ever do because you won't have to, because when women are feeling that emotionally, they will come to you and say all the stuff. But if you were to go to them and say, hey, how are you feeling? And they were already there, then they'd be like, oh, I see this hopefully lasting a long time because you allowed her to get to that point on her own accord. But when they feel forced into it, then yeah, it's going to make them answer a lot differently. So you never need to ask a girl, hey, so I know we've been on 2 or 3 dates. So like, where do you see this going? Because they don't know yet. Like they might judge you today in a certain way that they wouldn't judge you 6 or 7 dates from now. And as it's building, I find that if you're not the guy coming to them asking those questions, they're going to want to know, because if they like you, they're going to want to make sure that they're staying in your good graces and that things are building accordingly. Most of the women that I've dated, if after a month or so I haven't said anything about where are we going, what's this, etc., they'll start coming to me and asking those questions. Hey, I want to check in to see where you're at with this. Hey, I want to know what you're thinking, what your thoughts are, what you're feeling about us. How do you see us going somewhere? And it's better for them to ask because of the 2 sexes emotionally. It's better for them to get there first because our emotion, we're already there. And for them, it's going to read a lot heavier. Like we're thinking I can just tell them this thing and they're going to be great. But they read into emotions a lot heavier than we do. So if we just say to a girl, hey, I see this going somewhere, they're thinking we've already wifed them up and are already trying to claim them. And it's like, that might not even be the case, but by us verbalizing that, that's what they're thinking. The other mistake this guy made that a lot of other guys make is he says, I thought it was implied that we were a thing after I introduced her to my dad and close friends. So for one, you do not assume anything. Again, until she comes to you asking those questions, just assume that she's here for a good time and that she's enjoying your company. That's really all that matters this early on. As you start to date her more and her interest increases, she will come to you and say, hey, so, are we going to be a thing? Like she's going to want to inquire about that, but she's not going to assume it. She's going to want to know concretely at that point that you guys are a thing because she's developing these strong feelings. But until she gets there, as long as she's saying yes to dates and showing up and having a good time and maybe you guys are getting physical, then you're good. You don't need to delve further into this thing of you don't need to delve into assuming that you have to be a thing for you guys to still be having a good time together. And also, he says the part where he introduced her to his dad and close friends. And this is actually a very major step in the building of a relationship. And it's not something that I recommend guys ever do when they're just dating a girl. Because in the dating process, you two are still really trying to get to know each other. And oftentimes, bringing other people into the relationship does 1 or 2 things. Either A, it can be a distraction. Like you might have introduced her to one of your friends who might be finer than you, and she suddenly starts crushing on him, and now you're gone. Why? Because her feelings were not solidified for you yet, and you brought other people around at the wrong time. But the other thing that it can do is it can signal a level of intensity and a level of high emotions from you that indicates to her that you are already seeing her as a long-time option in your life, which you would think as a guy is like, what's so bad about that? But I keep telling you guys, if she's not there yet, these are not signals you want to try to throw her way. And introducing parents, cousins, and close friends to her lets her know that you're already seeing her in that realm. But if she's not there yet, all that does is scare her into thinking that you're trying to pressure this into being a thing and pressuring her into having serious emotions that she might not be there with yet. In which case, yeah, it's going to make her realize you're taking this more seriously at this point in the dating phase than she is, which is why she's up saying, well, I want it more casual. Because the truth is, a lot of women date guys that end up taking things too serious too soon. And so the thing where she said she just got out of a serious long-term relationship. So what that means is that guy that she was dating was also probably either he was too serious or they were together for a long time. And after a woman gets right out of a relationship, she might not necessarily be trying to well, it's not that she doesn't want to get into another serious relationship, but it's that she wants to be able to do that at her own pace. And what a lot of guys make the mistake of doing is they'll hear a girl say, oh, I just got out of a relationship. And they're thinking, but she must have want another one. So I got to do everything to make this feel like a relationship. And again, she has to be the one to say to you, I'm feeling these more serious things. I'm ready to move it into that realm, because we're usually always ready. Like, I know there's a stigma about, oh, guys want to live the bachelor life and whatever, but realistically, if we meet a girl that we like that's hot and that's giving it to us regularly, we're kind of already ready to like get into the situation, and women can kind of read that. But again, we come off as too intense for them, so that's why. I'm coming from this as a guy that has dated women who have either been divorced or who have just gotten out of situations, and then they come to me. And I'm very much the laid back, chill guy. I'm like, hey, we're just going to have a good time. If it becomes a relationship, great. But I just want to have fun, take you out, show you a good time, have some good physical chemistry together, and see what's what. And I don't push any kind of agenda. But I also don't call them every day, don't text them every day. I don't try to set up dates for them every day. If anything, I'm trying to see them like once, maybe twice a week when we first start dating, because I want them to have time alone to be able to let their brain on its own accord realize how much they want to be around me by the fact that I'm not constantly around them. And then that has them coming to me. And as I always say, if they're chasing you, they can't be replacing you. But if you're constantly chasing them, if you're constantly trying to push them into situations that indicate that this is more serious than she's ready for, then you're going to push a lot of women away who would have actually worked out. Like I said, this woman and him were dating for 2 months. So around the 2 to 3 month mark is when women will start saying things like, well, what are we? Are we serious, etc. But if you've been doing things that have been trying to push this and have been indicating like, well, I'm already ready there, and I'm trying to show you off to my friends and family because I want to be assured that you see this as the thing, and I want to make sure I'm getting your approval, and I want to see you giving me those signals that indicate that you're serious also. Well, now you've been pressuring her for 2 months, and now she hasn't been able to, on her own accord, get to that place, and now she feels like she has to end it. So guys, I'm telling you, when women start saying those things about wanting a casual relationship or I need some more space, that means that unfortunately you have not been doing a good job of being patient and pacing this out, and you need to either scale it back, or in the case of her dumping you, you just know to learn that lesson and know that for the next girl that you go out with, that you need to apply a bit more patience and not be so heavy on having to see them, call them, and introduce them to people right off the bat. Now that you've heard from me, I'd like to hear from you. How would you handle a woman telling you she wants a relationship that's more casual? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment down below or write to me at harrywilmington@gmail.com. Are you ready to learn killer icebreakers that attract women on dating apps? Go to introvertdatingsuccess.com right now to watch my free video training, How to Get Attractive, Feminine, Emotionally Stable Women Dying to Respond to Your First Messages on Dating Apps Without Using Sleazy Pickup Lines, which will give you key secrets to sparking attraction and conversations with women online the smart way. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on this episode, and catch new episodes 7 days a week right here on YouTube or wherever podcasts can be streamed. In the meantime, be sure to check out other episodes so that you too can learn how to date as your authentic introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.